Welcome back to class, everybody. I am your medically compromised Professor Ricky.
What?
Yeah.
Hey, guys, I'm Ethan.
I got a first dose of my vaccine a couple days ago.
Why would that mean you're medically compromised?
Because there are side effects to a couple of the brands. And I got hit pretty hard.
Oh, really?
Chills and thrills.
That's the worst.
It's funny because it's like, I know this is fine. It's well documented. These are side effects, and I know I need to get this vaccine.
Which one did you get?
Moderna.
Okay,
Yeah.
bad.
The OG, the original.
No, the original is Pfizer.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, then Moderna, it has the highest like numbers percentage-wise, but it hits you pretty freaking hard.
Pretty even Steven Seagal.
Pretty even Steven Seagal. I felt, like I said, chills and thrills, kind of the achiness of the joints, and kind of a swimminess to the head. So I'm feeling pretty swimmy right now, which I guess makes for good content. It'll make for a very...
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, it'll make for a prime professor outing, frankly, as far as performances go.
I don't know if I'd consider you medically compromised, though, my man.
I'm both augmented but compromised
Yeah,
at the same
I don't
time.
know.
It all breaks even in the end. But I am really hyped to talk about the show we're talking about today, given that it is a part of one of the most GOAT seasons we've had in a while. I've been keeping up on all that shit. This week, at time of recording, we have that double dose of Attack on Titan. As we all know, Mappa got hit, and with the earthquake, and a lot of people had to like kind of push off their episodes, but that means we get a double dose this week, and I am, after this, immediately going to do that, because I am super hype on that shit right now.
Oh, it's already out.
I think it comes out Sundays. Yeah. So I think
Okay.
they dropped both eps. Blap. Double.
I knew they were dropping both apps. I didn't know when the day was.
It could be...
It was Mondays, but, you know.
It could be Monday as well. So at the time of you listening to this, should be out.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I guess check your local programming.
Check your local listings for that sweet double drop, baby.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as we're on a little bit of an Isekai kick lately, just from the shows we've been both suggested and digested, the things we have put inside of our bodies.
Before we start this,
What you got?
so I was driving around today, and I just got to ask you this question.
What you got?
I saw this guy running,
Okay.
and he was like pumping his arms like crazy,
Like
just at a normal
really,
jog.
really hard. Okay.
Yeah, like just absolutely.
Get those extra swings in. That's fine.
And like, when you run, do you like use your arms a lot, or
So I do notice that when I run, I don't do kind of this halfway cross. I do kind of keep them at my sides, but it's very limp wrist, right? Just kind of
limp wrist?
Well, I mean, I've seen people who run with like fists clenched and just like crushing it. I just don't, once it hits the wrist, I don't care what my hands do. Just kind of flopping, but
That would be very intriguing to see. No, I was thinking like pumping your arms that much while running has got to be worse for you in the long run. Just like,
I'm not really sure how it's worse.
because you're using energy to like fully like.
I guess if you're going for speed and or time, then yes.
But it was like a slow jog, so I'm like, that
If he's
cannot
just-
be good over.
If you're just doing it for caloric burn, then that's the kind of the principle of the elliptical, right? Is to get your arms involved.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's really it.
But I'm just saying, like,
But you found this guy was pumping his arms so hard it was worth talking about it. Online.
yeah, I mean, it was
that
just
extreme.
like, what the fuck is this dude doing? Because I'm just thinking, like, over a mile or obviously, ideally, like 3 miles, pumping your arms that much is just gonna wear all your muscles out.
For sure. But I mean, maybe that's the point, right? Maybe
I run like not exactly, obviously I'm not like a fucking ice cube out there, but
Sure.
I like try to keep it like pretty
Keep it fluid, right?
keep it in this like easy little range.
In the easy strike zone. Yeah. just keep
and
it.
my hands will do the same thing the entire time, or my arms or whatever.
I guess I never really thought about my arms.
I think about it all the time.
Ethan, 2 a.m. Maybe if I ran with my arms at my sides, I can
Well, since
save.
I run at 2 a.m, yeah.
But this is the kind of shit that keeps you up at night.
Yeah, no,
Jog arm configuration.
I mean, yeah, right. You gotta
I don't
find
know.
optimum.
I've never thought about this. I could
Wait,
promise.
how much
that.
do you run?
I mean, you know, in my heyday, maybe a couple miles every morning, but because I was running.
Yeah, but not recently.
Not recently,
So
no.
obviously you're not thinking about it.
Of course
but
I'm
I saw
not.
the dude and I was like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
Learn how to run.
It looked
man.
like I genuinely you know when people sprint and they do this
Hand
for some
chop up.
hand
Yeah,
chop
yeah.
and they're just like I was like
He had that same vibe, but with like a slow
like
jog.
fists. and it was slow jog. I'm like, what is this guy doing?
Maybe he was just trying to be like that Mario kind of vibe.
Yeah.
You know, just trying to get that power up.
Bing, bing.
Yep. And that's he just wants that extra life, that one man. He's just trying to bump it
You
up.
one up.
You just
He
want
wants
that
the
one up. But yeah, I'm trying to find a really seamless way to tie the anime into that topic right then, but I'm not really having anything come to mind right now. But like I was saying before, the most smooth transition on the planet.
Yeah,
We are
I just had to ask.
No, it's good. It's worth, because if you see something like that anomalous when it comes to just normal day every
Well, I
day,
mean, if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. You know, if
That's
everyone's
fine.
doing the same thing, I wanted to know. But
you can hop in our Discord for $1 on Patreon and tell us how you run. Like that's
Yeah,
not a
you could
problem.
do that.
You could do that. We're not going to say no to that. But today we're talking about, I'd argue, one of the most wholesome anime out at the moment in the genre. Like I said, it's an isekai. And anyone who's kind of in the space right now probably has an idea of what we're talking about. Ethan, my boy, my man, what are we talking about today?
Today we are talking about that time I got reincarnated as a slime.
Ooh, yes. 2019 White Fox. Did I get any of that right?
Don't know.
Yeah, I think it's a White Fox anime. I want to say maybe 2019 was the first season, because the second season was a double through 2020, 2021. Maybe.
Yeah, that sounds like it could be, I guess.
These are all adjacent maybe facts. But
Yeah, so here's the thing. Recently I said something like Attack on Titan season 1 was in 2016.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously stupid.
Yeah, it's 2014, right?
Thinking back. But look, guys, when we're up here just, talking, waxing philosophic on camera, on mic,
It's all off the dome.
we've got a lot of stuff in the head too, right?
Yeah.
Like we've seen a lot of shows at this point. We've talked about a lot of shows. Like, forgive us for getting a date off by like 3 years, which but in the scheme of things, really think about how like not consequential that is.
Forgive us for getting a date wrong by just a couple years.
Okay, everyone that's grown up now, like post college, post whatever,
Sure.
mid 20s to late 20s,
Yeah.
you know that it is almost impossible to remember what happened in the last 4 years.
That shit's foggy. for sure.
Chronologically.
Yeah, that shit's
The only
foggy.
way I used to do things is I would say, Call of Duty, I was playing that in 9th grade,
Yeah, right.
And so I knew based off like that. And then
Exactly.
that's the year, but like things like this where, it was post college or maybe like in the college blob.
In the college
There's
blob.
I get a 4 year, like, or 5 years maybe.
It depends
a
on who you
5 year
are.
tolerance band.
Yeah, right. Give us a break.
We need a tolerance band, okay?
We're professors, but we're also human.
It's
I
not
know
like
it's understandable to forget that
It's not
sometimes.
like I said first season of Attack on Titan was from 1974.
Is it not?
It could be.
Who knows? It's all a blob.
That's what I'm trying to say.
The whole thing's a blob. Right. But this one definitely came out in the last couple of years. It's taken...
We're taking the tolerance band 5 years from now.
Yeah, it's something. This one came out in the 20 teens somewhere. It's whatever.
We should just start saying like a general decade.
Yeah, it came out in the teens, the 20 teens. But this show, man, like this show is so fucking wholesome that I group it with ReZero. So I have this emotional neutral at the end, right? There's the heaviness, beautiful heaviness to ReZero, but there's a levity to the time I got reincarnated as a slime, hereafter referred to as just slime, because that whole name's a nightmare.
Yeah.
But slime is like it's therapeutic for the soul. That's how wonderfully wholesome this show is. And if you aren't watching it yet, and you are an isekai fan, what are you even doing? Because you need to be watching.
you made big mistakes here.
This is like up there in the modern isekai with Shield Hero for different reasons. I think it's that good, it's that refined, but they've done so in a very interesting way. That now people are trying to replicate with like, I'm a spider, so what? That exact formula was ripped from slime, like to a T.
Question about the spider show.
Sure.
Was he actually reincarnated as a spider?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean,
it just seems like it could be like born a spider that somehow is cognizant of the world.
Oh no. So definitely reincarnated as a spider
with great sage.
No sage, no sage. But the absorption aspect is there. Whatever she eats, she gains the powers of.
Such horseshit.
Very kind of Ari Feretta as well, right?
Yeah,
with, like, the first episode. But it's very much more akin to slime. So
literally the only good parts about Ari Feretta was the first couple episodes.
Yep. It's literally the first episode and a half until that little fucking vampire lily comes in. I don't want to hear it, Saint. I don't want to hear it.
Not at all.
At all.
So, yeah, I think we should talk about season 1 mostly.
Sure.
Or season 1 and 2, like
there will be some there will be definitely spoilers for season 1. Season 2 is finishing right now in this godly season, winter 2021. We'll do our best to kind of allude to what's going on there because I do
I think we should just full ass talk about it like near the end.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
like,
we'll save
post
season
45 minutes. We're going to talk about like season 2.
Word. All
so
right.
like if you're, our friends or whatever in the Discord that don't like to watch every week, feel free to wait for the second half of the episode at that point.
Sure. And if you are trying not to get spoiled, the first 40 minutes or so, that's your strike zone. That's where you want to be.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we will be talking about kind of the season 2 stuff because I think they do a lot of interesting things in season 2 to expand the world. But 10,000 feet, you have the basic isekai formula, really, from the rip. You got a guy. I don't even remember his original name.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. And they do an interesting thing where he saves someone from a stabbing, and he goes down, dying. His last breaths are very interesting because he just has this inner monologue mentally, but that sets up his power set for the new world. He's like, I feel hot. Now I feel cold. I don't want to feel these anymore. And then as he's saying those things, this other entity, which we later come to find is known as the Great Sage, is kind of setting up the parameters by which he will be existing in the new world. And after he says a whole bunch of stuff, he then is given a body that can handle all of these quote-unquote requests.
Wait, what does he say first, though?
What does he say first?
Doesn't he ask his buddy that he saved to delete his computer?
That's fucking right. I totally forgot. So his last actual words on planet Earth is he tells his friend with complete earnestness, please destroy my hard drive. And we never ever find out what's on there, but his buddy's a good dude and does the deed.
Yeah, we get to watch his buddy frying his hard drive.
Basically fried in the bathtub.
Yeah.
He plugs it in, fills the bathtub, and drops it in.
It was so funny.
And he's like, wonder what the fuck was on that.
Yeah.
And we never find out what it is. It's great.
It's way better that way because it's such a wholesome show, and I'm sure that whatever was on there was not.
Taxes 98, baby. It was
probably jobless reincarnation.
You son of a bitch.
Yeah,
How dare you? How dare you bring that up here? Yeah. We'll have an episode for that soon. I swear. But, and side note, we will have a non-isekai thing next week because we're on isekai fucking hype mode right now.
I'll never tell.
Oh no, maybe this is an isekai podcast now. Come back next week and find out.
Isekai week.
Isekai month.
Year.
It's the year of the isekai.
We really could do like a full ass year.
We
There's
probably
so many
fucking
shows.
could. Would you want to do like a genre?
We're borderline already there.
We're already kind of already there. But in any case, this guy telling his friend, delete my porn server. Thank you.
We can only assume.
I'm wildly speculating.
Will that be
here.
your last freaking words on Earth?
Yeah. Delete my hard drive.
I mean, there was some serious shit on there.
Yeah. I'm just curious what company he worked for. What were they doing? Maybe some seedy shit. But he then dies and goes to the other world. And I hope you guys can read because the synopsis is in the title. He got reincarnated as a little slime ball. And
with his smartphone.
With a smartphone.
Oh, wait. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. That's a totally different thing. But he does have a couple really interesting powers, and he's renamed himself Rimuru Tempest. I like that name.
Well, he didn't call himself Tempest until some things happened.
Right. But I'm just saying. He gains Rimuru is his name, and then things happen, which we'll talk about. But his full name in this world, all said and done, Rimuru Tempest.
Why did he call himself Rimuru? I don't remember that part.
I don't remember either. I think that when he met his first friend, he just made a name up on the spot.
Yeah, Veldora, the humongous fucking spirit dragon thing.
Literally
Storm
one of
dragon.
the 4 greatest entities in the entire world.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. But he's got a couple cool powers as a slime. Like I said, the Great Sage. It's kind of this, we said smartphone jokingly, but essentially that's what this is.
It's like Siri in his head.
Yeah, he literally has Siri in his head about the world. He can ask it to do things, to perform tasks, and to gain knowledge, which in and of itself, it's already fucking insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, he literally has a spirit guide that is, all-knowing. Well, most knowing. It's a most knowing kind of situation.
Yeah, it's just funny. So he like spawns as this slime,
right?
And he can't see anything, can't hear anything, can't feel cold, can't feel hot, right? Because he's a slime.
No sensation whatsoever.
A lot of the things that he was talking about when he was dying,
right,
was asking for similar things. And so, but he's got the Great Sage as his like add-on feature.
That's fucking broken.
His special feature, and he can basically like, slimes are supposed to be weak. They're supposed to be like bad monsters. You know what I mean? Like really weak, shitty monsters.
Yeah.
But he's just able to like couple like his insane power set via Great Sage with his like humanity and like make a friend right off the rip that happens to be ridiculous.
Literally, this dragon, what was the name of the dragon again?
Veldora.
Veldora is a storm dragon, one of the 4 great dragons in this world, literally creatures of myth, and he runs into what amounts to a tsundere dragon. Because it's kind of a tsundere off the bat. Like, I guess if I can't, I'm gonna be friends with you if I have to, baka. Like, it's literally, that's the energy you get right off the rip. And they have a good conversation. He learns a little bit about the world. And we then find out that he can absorb, utilize, and take in the attributes of that which he absorbs. And it's not just that. He can absorb things and multiply them as well. Once he gets, I think that might be part of the Great Sage thing.
Yeah.
Once he can analyze the components and the makeup of a certain thing, he can just spit that shit out if he has the raw materials and just go. That's huge. Just something about the way that this character is OP is kind of groundbreaking in that it's a main character that is supposed to be weak by the lore from what they are. They're a slime monster. We historically know them in like RPGs as like level 1 shit, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Like the first thing you fight on any level.
Right. And then he just has all the equipment and the skills to be godly very quickly. And normally I would say that is pretty blasé. That's pretty kind of common, right? I don't know. It seems like it's something that should feel, all right, we've already seen this. We've already seen this whole thing. But it's what is done with that OP-ness, as we've said on the show a couple times. That OP-ness, the way he uses it to better the world. His entire objective is to better the world through monster-human relationships. Because he himself is a monster body with a human mind and soul. So he's the nexus point between those two things in a world that has no such nexus. So do you find this show is breaking ground? It is good. It's very refined. Is it more of a My Hero situation where it's refining the tropes of its genre, or do you think it's really pulling away?
No, I mean there's nothing like really all that different about what Slime does versus any other isekai. The only difference being, at least at that point, being like the only one that I know of that like spawns as a monster, right? That's not frequent.
That's not very common, no.
But like, he spawns as a monster, but it's like a monster with insane powers. So it's not like he didn't spawn as a slime.
Right.
Super slime.
Super slime. Which is funny. I noticed something when I'm recently watching it. You don't see another slime ever.
Yeah, true.
How is this world so known of slime, like, as weak monsters, but we never see another slime?
They probably all got killed off, man.
That's actually probably true.
They got farmed.
They're that level 1 shit. They're the grinding. They are the grinding of this world.
Or they're in Spawn City.
It spawns to the USA, baby. Well, whatever land, whatever country, world they're in. Because I keep going back and forth about like, why is this show so good? And I'm trying to put my finger on it, and I keep going back to the word wholesome because
I mean, it's got to be. So like when we had that argument with Sky about basically jobless versus slime,
right,
like
it's apples and oranges in my head. Like they do not compare. They're just different.
you can't compare an apple and an orange.
I guess they're both fruit, the same way they're both isekais, but linguistically, historically, they're meant to be different
I
things.
know, it's
right?
just such a dumb. I always found that phrase to be so stupid.
It's apples and oranges. One's a citrus,
They're both
and one's they're both fruit, I guess.
So
Fine.
like you can compare them.
Fine.
They're just not that similar.
Well, I think that's what it is. They're in the same genre, but they do truly feel like two distinct sides of that genre. Jobless is a more, realistic, mature look, whereas slime is very. I'd argue it's pretty PG. I mean,
it's very PG.
You don't get a lot of you don't get a lot of fan service. You get a little bit, but not crazy. You don't get a lot of blood, but you do get some intense situations. You get a little bit of blood. You get a little bit of violence, but I mean, it's all in service of like this show, as opposed to last week with Drifters. Main stage, front and center, blood, gore, violence, war. You had all of that, and that's a central tenet of that show. This show does its best to kind of find its way around the violence, the war, because that's kind of what Rimru's whole thing is don't incite that violence. Do what you can to live cohesively. And that's something that is foreign to this world that might be what makes this show stand out. He's dropped in a world and presenting wholesome, positive kind of mentality to a world that has a lot of prejudice in the background, a lot of conflict in the background, but they do their best to kind of obscure it away, right?
Yeah, I think one of the major differences that I see is like his goal is really peace. It's not like
right
doing anything specific.
It's not
like
conquest. It's
right.
peace.
Like I think you look at Naofumi, and his goal is really, stop these waves or fight these waves of whatever creatures are coming to fight them. And most like isekai, the goal is let's get back home, or you know what I mean? Like there's very like obvious goals.
Oh, yeah, the goal. Yeah, you're right. That's it right there. The goal is obvious. The goal is set in front of you from the outset. Beat the thing.
Right.
Beat the game. Capture this thing. And even Drifters, fight the ends. In like you said with Shield Hero, beat the waves. With this show, the objective is not set in stone. The reincarnation is not done so with purpose as far as we can understand at this point. We don't know why he's there. We don't know who sent him there, do we? No.
But like I'm saying, the goal for him is different.
Yeah.
Like he has no intention of going back. And why would he? His hard drive's gone.
Yeah. Yeah, the entire Tax 98 file is burnt to a crisp. Why would you want to go back?
The funniest part about that Taxes 98 file is Patrick had one of those when he wasn't old enough to have taxes in 98.
Sorry, buddy. We just kind of outed you there, but it's fine. Who did it?
It wasn't about that. There was different stuff in the folder. Emulators mostly.
It was mostly emulators. A lot of pirated shit.
Game Boy Prism or whatever.
Dolphin 64.
Pokemon Prism.
Yeah. But no, you're right. He's making his own objective.
Well, and he has no intention of ever going back.
And he needs to that's why this feels very natural, is because he knows he's stuck, but also he wants to make the world he's in as best as possible because he's there. He's stuck. There's no going back. And we're not going to try to get much into season 2, but there is a moment in season 2 where he kind of realizes maybe I am more monster than human now. Maybe he's kind of also wrestling with that.
Spoil the shit out of it at 25 minutes in.
I don't think I totally ruined it. But no, he does have these moments of wrestling with his lingering connections to humanity. He doesn't quite so in season 1, he is trying his best to make sure the monsters aren't giving the humans a reason to come wipe them out, right? He does a lot of work there to, hey guys, I know I'm kind of suddenly becoming your leader because I am very, very strong, but I also want to impose these principles on you so you guys in this world can better coexist with other races, right?
I think so. I mean, let's just delve a little bit deeper into season 1 because I think
Sure.
it kind of really sets the stage for
It
what
does.
we're looking at. So after he basically strikes a deal with Veldora, the dragon, who is locked in there by a hero under this mountain, essentially.
Yeah.
And he's thought of as like the guardian of this forest because nobody will go in there or mess with it because there's this insane aura and power there.
Even behind the shield he's trapped in, that,
Right.
that spiritual cage.
They're so freaking scared of like accidentally letting him loose that they're like completely waving off that entire area.
In the region, he's holding the peace just by being there.
Right. And that includes all the like spirits or whatever. It includes the dwarven kingdoms, human kingdoms, and the demon lords.
Yes, the demon lords in the area.
And so he's like fully holding them off. And Rimuru obviously makes his first friend in Veldora. And then he's like,
What a first friend to make, though, right?
He's
So
like,
good.
well, I'll try to break your curse or whatever it is, your guard that's holding you there. And then they basically like profess that they're going to be brothers forever,
Bros.
Yeah.
Slime bros.
It felt as abrupt as Jujutsu Kaisen's brother thing.
Yes. Yeah, really. Brother.
Brother.
Brother. I like a tall woman with a thick ass. Oh, my bro. My brother.
And anyway, so he basically uses, it wasn't gluttony at this point. I can't remember what his thing was called.
No, he just had like an absorption power. Like he could take anything within himself.
So he absorbs him and like
cage
holds him
and all.
inside of him.
Cage and all.
Yeah.
He literally just the whole
and
thing.
basically he's got great sage just like tinkering around with it, trying to beat it, and I assume that's going to be near the end of the show, right?
Sure.
That they, fully resurrect him. But now that massive aura is stuck inside of him, he exhibits that to the world.
Yes. So
The first people that meets him, they freak out because they see this big spirit, like aura coming toward them.
literally you are exhibiting something that is myth level. Like
Yeah.
you shouldn't exist. So he has this pull, which is funny. He himself is trying to be as wholesome and peace, fronting peace as much as possible. But in the background, all the monsters are like, "Oh my fucking god!" Like he could wink and blow away a town. Like this is not something we want to fuck with. But whereas some protags will have that same level of power and then flex it to people do what they want. He's kind of the opposite.
Which would be so much cooler. in my opinion.
There is going to be a lot in this show, a lot of times in this show where you as a viewer are like, yeah, just fucking unload, dude. Like, just do it.
Blast them.
The fact that Rimuru doesn't is another big core tenet of this, because this show is about, violence truly is the last option.
Right.
It needs to be. Because in this world, violence is kind of the go-to. People are expecting you to react violently to everything, as little as confrontations with monsters and as big as international politics, right? They're expecting you to go to war. Whereas Rimuru, funny enough, as a monster, low level even, is setting this peaceful example for what is seen as much more established kingdoms and countries. So it kind of makes you wonder, what was the world like before Rimuru even got there? It seemed very turbulent, and he's trying to be the steadying force, which makes me very happy as a viewer. A little anxious.
I don't know if I'd call it turbulent. What I think it really is like a world where monsters are just like a second thought, really not that important.
Right.
And so this is the first time monsters are really on the world stage doing something interesting. And that's what I love about the show so much is, and this is where like, I don't think it's fair to say that the show doesn't really offer much, or it's like a, blank thing or bland in some regards, because
sure,
we've gotten to see them building this nation and like become like,
oh, that's such a fun,
a new nation on the world stage, being important because, originally just because Rimuru was so ridiculously strong, but then also, as this glue for the monster world, he's really attracting stronger and stronger monsters all the time.
Right.
And, gaining allies from people you wouldn't expect,
solo
making
leveling,
alliances.
Solo leveling has a similar vibe. It's more subjugation rather than cohesiveness, but that slowly gaining power through afterthoughts, right?
Yeah.
That they do it in much different ways, almost like dichotic, but at the same time, like that makes for compelling storytelling, because if you notice in the first season, Rimuru gives everyone a name.
Right.
Monsters getting names in this world allows them to level up. Without a name, they are stuck as these kind of, at best, low-level villagers, at
Right.
very best. But these aren't rules that didn't exist. They existed long before Rimuru did in this world. They just have not been exploited or utilized in a way that matters. And that is what Rimmeru's doing. It's almost as if he has the whole rule book, but everyone's ignoring the last chapter. And he's using that last chapter like, oh, how do I operate with monsters? Like, oh, if I give them a title and a name, they level up and they become much more powerful, and they want to follow me. That's fucking great. That's a win-win.
Yeah, I do think though that he's like the only, the prophetic creature in some regards where he's strong enough to do that.
Yes.
Right? Because it takes a lot of power. It takes a lot of stuff
mana,
like that.
A lot of mana to
name these monsters. I don't know why that would make sense. It must be like a purchasing kind of option.
I feel like it's more imbuing them with enough mana to level up, right? Because some people,
I don't know, that never really made sense to me, but
yeah,
because they didn't explain it that well.
They do get exponentially more powerful with names.
They do, but they never like told us about the mechanism really. It's just like you name them and you go sleep.
Yeah, then you go sleep. Bye bye.
Okay.
Because they're even saying like, this guy got a name, but the guy who named him almost died.
Yeah.
Just to give him that one name, and people are lining like he gave an entire village's worth of orcs like actual names. Are they goblins? The green guys are goblins,
also
or orcs?
they're little goblins.
So
orcs are the pig-looking dudes.
Yes. What were the original? So he is confronted at some point with his main squad going forward, the horned folk. Who are they before they become kaijins when they get named? What was their race called? They're like demons, but it's not a demon.
It wasn't like hobgoblin or something.
It might have been hobgoblin or something. I don't know. But as he gets...
Well, now I gotta look it up.
Now he's got to look it up. But as you go through this, he's basically trying to build a nation. It wasn't... I don't know if it was his initial intention, but his initial intention really was just to help this group of goblins.
He was an ogre.
Ogre, that's it. And then they become kaijins when they're named. As he gains more followers and acclaim, he basically starts in a very small village, and as they all level up along with him, they grow this tiny village into an actual international force to be reckoned with, both in trade, in power, and in influence. And it's really cool to see that. And as you would expect, not a lot of people, not everyone's super happy about that, because it's fucking monsters. In this world, they're like, monsters just started a fucking nation? And a slime is at the head of everything? That's bullshit. At best, it's something to go be seen. At worst, it's something that people feel like they need to take out. Because, fuck that. Absolutely not in this world. A nation of monsters.
Yeah,
Ridiculous.
so I actually think it's much more complicated than that.
Yeah.
So the cool thing about Rimuru, our dear protag, is
little slimy boy.
What I really like about Isekai is when you're able to go to like a primitive world, but use like your knowledge and your, basically human intellect and, RPG knowledge to build, basically corner the market on stuff, right?
Sure.
It's probably the only cool part about the show. High school prodigies have it easy or something like that.
Yeah, the one where they each have their own specialized.
Well, they come in as like technically geniuses and do all this stuff, and they bring all this cool stuff to that world.
Right.
They make like a mayonnaise empire.
Fucking man. Because who doesn't want some sweet helmsman?
Well, if you've never had mayonnaise is decent.
Kind of pretty solid. It's essentially fat. Come on.
Anyway, so the reason I'm tying that in
I was wondering
is
where you're going with that one.
Because he's able to like bring like real world understanding of business and trade and stuff like that into this world, and makes Tempest, what is it? Republic of Tempest?
I think it's literally just called Tempest.
Okay, makes Tempest like a fairly big trade hub.
Yes.
Which is taking away from other trade hubs. And that's happens in season 1. So
yeah, no, it's all in season 1.
Yeah.
And is it in season 1 where basically he gets a really good scientist from the Dwarven Kingdom to help him with the refined high potion stuff? I think that's what that is. So there's a point where he, like we said before, the Great Sage allows to analyze and reproduce certain things if you can at least understand its makeup, and he becomes, at some point he hoards a couple really high quality health potions inside of him. And while it's in there, the Great Sage is like, hey, I just analyzed this. You can make as much as you want now. And he's like, oh, what? That's pretty fucking rad, because no one else in this world can make something that refined. So he spit one out at the scientist, said, hey, try to figure this shit out. Let's see if we can scale. It's all about scale. So he does, and now people are going to Tempest like, these are potions that shouldn't exist basically at all, but at the same time in these numbers as well. You're selling them like it's a fucking Coca-Cola. Like, how is that real? How is that actually fair? So, yes, they become this huge trade empire.
Was that the red potion, blue potion thing?
The blue potion was the...
But wasn't there a red potion or something that's like, no, that's a completely different show.
We've seen a lot of shows.
Well, all isekais really blend together.
They really do.
These similar, like, mechanics and stuff like that.
Well, to make it digestible to the basic, it's speaking to video game folk, essentially, at the end of the day. The modern isekai looks like a video game. And this slime is no different. Like it.
I'm going to lose it if I can't remember where that came from.
It'll come to you.
ReZero?
ReZero. I don't think they had red or blue potions.
No.
Not that I remember that. Better not be Arifureta. If you say that, I'm gonna bonk you. But yes. So this country that he builds, well, Ethan thinks, it's quite the disruptor of the state of things, and people definitely take notice, and in a way that is compelling because they do a really good job in this pacing of telling you about these kingdoms and these cities and these metropolitan areas well before you actually get to meet any of them. So the world exists pretty fleshed out from the rip, and that's not very common in a lot of these shows. Let's take a little bit to talk about the demon lords, because I find them very interesting in this world. How many are there? There are 9? 9 demon lords right now?
I can't remember.
Yeah, somewhere like that. And these are individuals that are just ungodly powerful in this world. They are so powerful, they have kind of a similar vibe of Rimuru, where they control large swaths of the land and the people therein just because of their own power. Some are goofy as shit. Some are much more Cinderella lily bait. Others are actually pulling real strings. But Rimuru kind of makes friends with a lot of them, and is just...
Okay, hang on.
Yeah.
The show where he gets the spirit of the woods and it's a big-ass hamster.
Is that not Wise Man?
No, it can't be.
Somali in the Spirit of the Forest?
Nope.
That kind of totally said that name wrong. He gets the Spirit of the Woods, and it's a giant hamster. I don't remember what the fuck that is.
Like ham... Okay.
It's Hamtaro. It's Hamtaro. That's what this is. It's Hamtaro, red potion, blue potion. My favorite demon lord might be the Beast Lord so far.
Carrion?
Carrion. I fucking love Carrion.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
Actual Thug Lord. Demon Lord? Nah. Thug Lord. Thank you. And
Thug Lord, yeah.
Thug Lord, yeah.
Overlord.
Oh, yeah. Wait, but that's not... He doesn't get a Spirit of the Forest with that, does he?
Yes, he does. I'm literally looking at it. He goes in and he
Is that season 3?
1.
What? Then I must have fucking forgot about Overlord.
So he goes in and he starts up a career as an adventurer under a different name.
That's right. Yep.
Anyway, he finds a potion that's like blue instead of red, or red instead of blue, something like that. And it's like ridiculously high quality. So they're like trying to get him to tell them where he got it from.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
It
Are you
all
good?
mixes together.
Are you good? Okay,
honestly,
good.
the art is similar too, now that I think about it.
It is pretty similar, actually. Gotta argue that. Aesthetically, this show is beautiful. They will flex their animation chops when it matters. The fights are quite beautiful. And all the character designs are so fucking fun. Like, oh god, sorry. I just like, this show is like soul soothing.
It's very hard to talk about though.
Well, how do you figure?
Like we've really not said much in the last 40 minutes. we're just like, it's a good show, trust us, sort of.
I think
But it's like, it's just really hard to point to why is it so freaking good.
it seems as though you have the same formula where your OPMC, Big Daddy Freak who claps cheeks, but this show claps those cheeks for good. It literally, Rimuru tries. What is this face you're making at me right now?
Claps cheeks for good.
He claps cheeks for good, right? He'll
With a finality that you'll never get over.
No, he'll thrash you if you speak up and try to go against his country, his nation. But it's really cool that everything does seem to resolve in the end. It always seems to have a happy ending. And even if the situation gets dire, the story, which I actually am kind of griping now that I think about it, that everything seems so in line in season 1, in Rimuru's favor. It's for his power, obviously, and that is common. It's a common trope with these Isekai MCs. Things just happen to go their way, but the way that Rimuru wants things to go is so wholesome and positive and like peaceful that even if it's like all is well as it ends well, the ends are great. The ends are nice. Like, you have monsters living peacefully and humans coming to visit. Like, that seems pretty sweet. That's pretty novel in this world.
Yeah. I'm not sure that I'm as worried about like how well it went in the first couple seasons, because like you said, he is like dumb powerful. It's not really
unreal.
that surprising. I think the only parts I would gripe about would be the different races of monsters joining him so quickly, like specifically the ogres.
That's fair.
I actually rewatched the beginning because I was like, I don't even remember how they even met up or what the deal was.
They like encroached on him and he kind of flexed on him a bit, and then they're like, oh, wait, actually you were kind of...
So they like all 7 attacked him at once.
Yeah.
And he was just like absolutely waxing these guys.
Like it wasn't even a contest.
But they're in like original ogre form. And then basically he's like, so can we talk now? Because I'm like really confused why you're even attacking me. And they're like, you came to finish us off. And he's like, I don't even know who you are.
I didn't even fucking leave. You came to me.
Yeah.
Like, you came to me.
And Shuna like stops them all from fighting and is like, he wasn't even there. Or, like, something like that.
Right.
And he's like, okay, well, anyway, I'm going to name you now. And they're like, what? Really? Because they're already pretty high class monsters, ogres.
Yes, they're pretty sentient. They have their own villages and stuff.
And so when he names them, it's like way worse.
They become the kaijins, and they're huge, like insanely powerful. We saw them.
They got crazy buffs, but I meant like the repercussions to Rimuru.
Yeah,
were much higher.
Just to name those,
slept for like a week.
Yeah, the higher level the monsters without a name, naming it is gonna crush you a bit. But yeah, it is pretty funny that you will have moments like we've said earlier in the episode where you want to see Rimuru flex so fucking bad, like because if he were to snap, that would be fucking rad.
I just don't know if we've even seen him snap yet.
No, I don't think we have either. But I think that kind of directly speaks to how good this show is and where it does things different. The fact that he doesn't snap and keeps it wholesome and will flex a little bit and make that flex mean something, but never go too far. And I almost don't know if I want to see him snap now. I mean, obviously I really do because I want to see that action, but it wouldn't cheapen, but it would feel as though Rimuru is knocked down a peg. Right now he feels like
too morally good.
Morally good, right? It almost seems unrealistic, but we are now 45 minutes in, so I'm going to go ahead and rip off season 2.
Well, let's finish with season 1. So, because that's a spoiler in itself.
Sure.
So at the end, this is something I wanted to mention was, so the whole first season, he makes friends with Milim, one of the biggest, most powerful demon lords, which was one of the best parts of season 1.
That was great, yeah.
Because she was just like so happy-go-lucky, and you're like, wait, she's a demon lord?
Yes.
And that's the first time I was like, are they really that big of are they that big of a deal? Like bad?
At the end of the season 1, you see they're pretty fucking big deal.
So they resurrect this big demon thing called Cardi B. Which is, I thought, just so funny that its name is Cardi B.
It was pretty fucking funny. Cardi fucking B.
Yeah, like she's the big evil demon at the end. That's just so funny to me. But anyway, so they're fighting this thing off, and I couldn't tell if Rimuru was really giving it his all or what. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, there was like they were getting beaten, like him and Milim a little bit.
They were, yeah.
And then the Dworgen guys came in and flew in and tried to help him. And then I'm like certain that Milim just killed it instantly for funsies at some point.
Yeah, that's what it was. Like she actually kind of like
Tried.
flexed a little muscle and tried.
Yeah.
And then suddenly disintegrated. I do think at that time, Rimuru was trying.
Okay.
Like season 2, Rimuru would just clap it, like not a problem.
But why? He hasn't gotten any stronger.
I don't think that's true. I think we learned that new techniques are existing in season 2 that he can now spatially travel, literally teleporting now. So he is learning more things to do. And he did already have gluttony at the time, didn't he?
Yeah, because that was after the Orc Lord disaster thing.
Yeah.
Honestly, the timeline's a little bit tough for me to remember, like which part of that was first. I think the Orc Lord must have been first.
This show's timeline's a little goofy because we kind of mentioned it. You are watching the birth of a nation. There will be these big, spans of time that don't really, like, it's been 3 months since this happened. You're like, well, fuck, that was fucking last episode. Like, and then your town has now become a bustling metropolis, and you're like, shit.
It's a little bit shell shocking.
It's a little shell shocking, but once you get the vibe, it's more like, hey, we're here now. We're in this part of the development of this country. So it becomes less of a story about Rimuru and more about the birth and rise of Tempest, which is really cool. It doesn't really backseat Rimuru at all. Still very much the head of this state, but
the cool thing is he takes a little bit of a backseat to that place growing. So he creates basically a staff, a democracy, people to kind of run the village and town. And he steps off to go teach, some humans somewhere else and like try to save their lives.
Right.
Which I was always fuzzy as to like what the deal was with those kids. It sounded like they were from another world as well.
So that I do remember pretty distinctly.
Because I do not.
There is that black-haired chick, Shinwoo or Shinzu or fucking, I don't know. Shizune or something like that. Yeah, that was acquaintances.
So you remember it really, really?
Shut up. Was friends with Rimuru, and in her final words, like she's like, "Please absorb me as I'm dying, because I think it would be important for both you, but also I get to be within you to see the birth of that which I just protected." So he gets a human form by absorbing her, but her last wish was, there are other kids from our world, from Japan, that I was teaching, but their mana, while vast, is unstable, and they will die their lifespan will be very short unless someone can do something about this. You're the only one that I can even imagine has the power to do something. So he's like, okay, I got you, boo. I can do this. Absorbs her, takes her form, becomes a human again, has a human form on deck, and then goes and teaches these very powerful kids, and while also trying to find a way to save their lives, which we learn can be done if they are imbued with a spirit. Some of these kids they all get pretty powerful spirits. One of them gets something that is so dangerous that not even the Great Sage really knows what the fuck that was.
Yeah.
And that'll definitely be a plot point later, but she's 100%. Literally imbued with like a myth level entity of power and magic. So once they've been imbued, they're stabilized, and then she's, still kind of teaching them. Good old sensei mode, but that's the reason why she's there. That's the reason why, not she, he. I say she because Rimuru in human form is a girl with blue hair, but genderless. They'd go through the motions of showing you that when she makes a human body, nothing downstairs.
Well, because mentally it's a dude, right? So he's kind of like struggling with like, matching up his previous life with this one. And that's what a big part of what season 2 is about, which now that we're here, we can finally talk about.
We here, baby. Let's go.
So you mentioned it's like in passing, but trying to basically decipher whether you need to fully become a monster in this new world that you're never leaving,
right? Or
should you still be holding on to some of the feelings and ideals of your past self in this world in Japan? And it's been like such an I think fulfilling season.
Yes, 100%.
Because we're finally it was all going too well right?
Yes,
But
thank you.
now the humans have attacked. They've got their sights set on Tempest because they're stealing all the money from the trade routes, and Falmouth is just not going to take it anymore.
And that's the thing with Rimuru, right? Is that season 1 you see this character who, in their old life, their last act was something that was very selfless and idealistic. Now in this world,
delete my hard
delete
drive.
my hard drive. But again, that never gets brought up again.
Trust
And we
me,
don't
my
know.
mom would not enjoy seeing what's
I don't
on
want to
there.
see that. But no, it's funny because he had the power, he had the chops to be idealistic, right? It always seemed to go a little too well, and the reason for that was because he had the power that if it weren't going well for him, he can make it go well for him. Like,
right.
He's that much of a baller. Now, season 2 is kind of diving into, well, what happens when that idealism comes and bites you in the ass? Because that's exactly what happens. Him telling these monsters off from the rip, don't attack humans. That philosophy backfired because they didn't fight back when a human force came and invaded their nation of Tempest.
Well, so I want to rebut that point, not only to you, but to the actual show.
I was going to say, because this isn't, they literally explicitly said that was a big reason why they didn't do much. But
well, right. But I'm just saying the only reason they lost those battles was because of the double layer barrier.
Anti-magic barrier.
It legitimately
yes.
had very little to do with not fighting back, because they did fight back, but they just couldn't do as much as normal.
I guess why would they explicitly have one of our main goblin characters say, like, we were told to welcome these humans in, despite it looking like an obviously oppressive force, right?
Sure. I think the reason is because, like, think about the way that monsters have existed all this time, right?
Sure.
Completely separate from humans. When you start accepting them in and being nice to them, then the onus is on them to be mean first, right? The humans.
Yeah.
And so that's what happened. And so it's easy when bad shit happens to be like, but you said that, they'll be nice to us, that kind of shit. Though I do not think it applies to this situation. And I was like pretty annoyed by that whole thing.
They did not
because
yes.
Like, he's taking all this blame onto himself about like having a soft spot for humanity, but that had nothing to do with the current situation.
And they did not go route by which they basically, you told us that, humans were good, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't a commentary on the evils of humanity and what happens when you turn an eye away from that and not think about it. It was supposed to be a commentary on the weaknesses that exist in idealism, because Rimuru cannot be everywhere at all times, right?
Well,
so that, right, it's close.
I'm just waiting for Shadow Clone Jutsu.
Yep, yeah, he's very close, and he almost kind of did that in the fight, right? He split himself apart and then hid in the grass, so he didn't have to fight. But yeah, it's that idealism does come at a price. It just hadn't been paid yet until now, and I think Rimuru's starting to understand. Oh shit, maybe even though if I'm here, I can enact that idealism, but he can't always be there, and nor should he. That's what he's realizing, that this country relied on my strength and my strength alone to be not just good, but ahead above the rest, right? Now that he was gone teaching those kids, that idealism fell through, and everyone paid the price. Not just him. The nation paid the price.
So, I'm still pretty much, I'm loving where it's going, but I'm struggling with the current situation, because saying all that stuff, like they relied on my strength and stuff like that, once again, does not take into account that they were like severely debuffed.
Sure.
And then the second they're not under the debuff, they go wax everybody. So it's like, to me, a little bit like disingenuous to tell the fans and tell like everyone watching at home that like, oh, we're relying too heavily on Rimuru, when literally Rimuru lost under the magic barrier too. So it's not like I don't see the correlation to what they're saying.
Yeah.
And because like, think about it. Okay, what do we do then? What do we go recruit more monsters? Do we find some way to level you guys up? Like, I don't know if there's really like what can they even do to be stronger? They're like so ridiculously powerful at this point.
Well, it was a worst case scenario, right? It was Rimuru was gone, double barrier up by someone who infiltrated the nation.
Double dollars,
baby. Like
$60 billion double dollars.
Yeah, the $60 billion double $1 billion man. But no, seriously, like they couldn't have planned it perfectly. Nor do I. It was more happenstance as well, right? They had Hinata, that one chick, basically hold up Rimuru while the other people of Falmouth basically attacked heavy, right? You could not have asked, if you were attacking Tempest, you could not have asked for a better situation. That's why they capitalized on this.
That's true.
So they only put up that much of an offensive, which Tempest is still standing, by the way. So it wasn't that good of an offensive. Lives were lost, but it's idealism.
Well, it was the opening shots across the bow where they said, they had to do that as like Force was just walking through, minding its own business, and then the evil demon monster guys attacked the girl.
Yeah.
Right. They used it as like a opening shots, opening overture into actual war.
You guys shot fire first. Like, that we got to return fire. We have to do this.
And so, like, they obviously weren't really trying to end them right then.
Right. And they definitely said, we'll bring forces back soon, because they do want to end them, because they are, right in the middle of all the trade and basically disrupting everything. But yeah, we do in season 2 get to see a little bit of popping off, almost like it is right and just that retaliation has been, it is right and just. It's righteous anger, and boy howdy is there anger, and everyone wants a piece of somebody from Tempest, and it's kind of what we hope for.
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
it's what we hope for.
I mean, so far all the forces except for Rimuru have beaten their goals.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be.
What about Rimuru's last attack in that most latest episode?
Still going right now.
It's
as
still
we speak.
going, literally, because this is the main spoiler for right now, but we're at the very end. Rimuru, by reasons that are positive and wholesome, wants to become a demon lord. The need for that is a demon seed. Basically, you have the capacity, and then you have to nurture it. How do you do that? 10,000 souls. Go kill a mid-level nation. Literally just destroy everybody. And his attack is so fucking awesome that it's literally like guided lasers through a portal, and literally just like quick, painless death sniping everyone all at once. And it's just racking up bodies. And
it's like counting them up. Sage is counting them up as it's
1,600, 1,900, 2,200. And you just sit there in silence in the end credits as Rimuru with the mask on, just sitting there watching the body count go.
He's like, oh yeah.
Oh God, that was it was something very quiet and ominous, because we never really saw him flex like that.
Yeah,
before.
and it's interesting. He is still human. I don't care what he says, right?
Thank you.
It's like,
he's still
to really
human.
like start just snuffing lives out it's a big change for our man.
He's definitely gone full monster, and from here on out, I don't think that I think he's going to rewrite what the world thinks of as monster, right? It isn't necessarily like, I'm thinking as a human. No, I'm thinking as a monster, but I want the world to see what monsters can be, both as a force to be reckoned with and a force to work with. You want to be part of us.
Yeah, I think the only thing that I'm a little worried about is like, is it going to cheapen his like monster ideal to become a true demon lord?
We'll have to see.
Yeah.
It's going to happen very soon. Very definitely at the end.
And so what's up with Milim? She just like randomly left?
Yeah, she just bounced. I don't know where she went.
That was so weird to me.
She came in and just
she was like hype, having so much fun with them the whole time, and then she just randomly vanished.
She just Irish goodbye and just.
No, I think she like left a note that was like, "Sorry, gotta go."
Exactly. Yeah, she just like ninja dipped and just
let her Kenny goodbye.
Yep, exactly. Let her Kenny goodbye
with a 2x4.
But we got to do what we got to do. What's your rating? I know mine. A little high.
Let's say 88 lovable Shunas out of 100.
91 Storm Dragons out of 100.
91 Veltoras?
Yes, sir. It's already in a genre that I like.
Right.
It's the visuals are top notch. All the characters are extremely lovable. You get moments that are actually genuinely funny, and you have an actual slapper power system in this show that is broad and can work with a lot of shit. We just saw new spirit magic that Hinata chick used. Makes sense in the context of the show, but we never got to see it before.
Yeah, I
Really
just can't
cool.
wait till they start snuffing out all the different human kingdoms.
Literally just
like
a slime do and absorb everybody. Just that's how it is.
Start erasing like
just snapping
cities.
fingers and just anyone who doesn't
Thanosing them.
I think the Rimuru becoming a demon lord is going to elevate everything. I think we talked about it off mic, where now it's almost as if Rimuru is going to be the enforcer, not just for Tempest, but amongst the other demon lords. They're all going to have eyes on, right? Now that we have another demon lord in the vibe, we're going to go up against the regions the demon lords consider.
Well, because it seems like right now they're very exposed to anything the demon lords want to do.
Exactly.
They can just kind of like mess with them.
Yes.
And I'm actually surprised Carrion hasn't done anything weird. Because they opened up as like a semi-friendly like trade alliance.
It's diplomatic for sure, yes.
Right,
yes.
where they give fruit and stuff like that for his like, basically since he's a human, he knows how to make wine and mead and like good shit like that.
Some of that good brandy shit.
Good.
Yeah, that good.
And
good.
so they're kind of like just trading services and stuff like that. But I thought for sure he was going to do something like sketchy, but he seems to be like a fairly decent
like
guy.
Pretty solid dude.
Pretty good guy.
Pretty solid dude.
Pretty rock solid.
The beast demon lord himself. It's got a lot of doggos and a lot of pets and all that shit. So.
True.
But yeah, if you aren't watching this show, my goodness, this is one that it'll butter the croissant that is your soul. It will give you warm and fuzzies, but also you have a good time along with it.
Yeah, Kristen.
Yeah, yeah, Kristen. Jesus. But yeah, thanks guys for coming to class. This is I felt like this one went really quick. I don't know what it was. Maybe we just like.
It's just such a good show.
It's just talking about this show.
Yeah, I mean, damn.
But yeah, if you want to listen with your ears and your eyes, the full sensory experience, come on over to YouTube. Hello. Been doing them recently. We've been on that game, y'all. Let's go. But if you want just ears and not eyes, go anywhere you get your podcast fix. Apple to Spotify and everything in between. Leave us 5 stars on Apple. And while you're there, write us a little review. Say I love you guys.
Just a little snoot. Little smooch.
Little smooch. Yeah. A little chef's kiss.
Cyber smooch.
Yeah. Give us a little chef's kiss over there. Like, comment, subscribe on YouTube if you like our vidcast in the lab. Everything else, Instagram, weebology.podcast. Got memes and news and sometimes giveaways. I got a little inebriated the other day and I tried to give Ethan like this super weirdly complex idea about how to do tiered giveaways, and I'm putting that one in the trash. I'm gonna rework it. I think there's a nugget there, but I
wasn't gonna say anything.
But I was on one for sure. I was just like, yo, what if we did like fucking tiers, right? And like, everyone responds.
Dude, I just thought of a sneaky good idea.
Yes, a sneaky good idea. And you're like, oh God, Professor Ricky's on the horse again. Cheesy Pete.
Basically, I just didn't respond after a certain point because it got like unnecessarily like contrived. I was gonna be like, you know what, man, if you want to do it, go for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna rework it so it's a little more simple, but I think there's a nugget of pretty good idea in there.
It was wild.
It was wild. Twitter @weebologyp. We post there sometimes. And if you want to give us some old school love in that old school email fashion, weebologypodcast@gmail.com. Say hi or give us anime to watch. We did a viewer suggestion last week. We're going to start hitting more of those going forward. So you want to get on the list? Give us an email. Get on the list. Patreon. Only if you can. Monetary love. Patreon.com/weebology. $1 and up gets you into our Discord with all of the other Patreon lovely fans, as well as past guests. $3 and up gets you that syllabus sidebar, our lo-fi, high vibes, sometimes anime, sometimes not podcast, where we just riff about our lives and shit going on. We'll typically do like one, bare minimum one every other week. You know, we're busy boys. We try to do weekly, but we can do one this week.
Yeah, I mean,
we can do one this week. I think we can do a good one this week.
Come on, guys. Give us a break, okay?
Give us a break.
We're trying.
We really are.
We haven't missed a single episode of The Real Show.
No, we haven't, and we promise we will not.
And we're nearly 2 years in. I mean, you got to give us some credit.
Real deep. The consistency in the core tenet is there. But until I go home and binge that anime and get some actual sleep because I'm tired as hell, I'm Ricky.
And I'm Ethan.
And this has been Weebology. Deuces. I feel though I didn't phone it in, but now I'm starting to run out of juice.
Yeah. Hey, man.
I'm starting to run out of juice.
Long episode.
It's a long episode.